Hi, my name's Anna Serin. I'm Director of Listings Development with the Canadian Securities Exchange. You're joining us for another CSE podcast. I am here today as part of the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference in Vancouver in late January of 2026. And I get to be joined today by Jeff Clark. Jeff Clark is the founder and editor of The Gold Advisor. Jeff carved his own path, focusing more on investing in gold and silver, starting as an analyst for Doug Casey's firm in 2007. Combined with his love of writing, Jeff quickly became a globally recognized authority on precious metals. He is the founder of thegoldadvisor.com, speaks regularly at precious metals conferences, and serves on the advisory board of Strategic Wealth Preservation in Grand Cayman, a bullion storage facility. Thank you for joining us, and let's dive into it with Jeff Clark. Thank you for joining me, Jeff.
Oh, thank you for having me. This is a great time to be talking.
Okay, the last time that you spoke with our audience was at our annual investor luncheon at PDAC in 2025, and we learned so much from you then, and I know that we wanted to get a podcast, so it took us a little bit of time, but I'm glad we're finally sitting down to do it.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of set the scene here for our audience that we are having this conversation. You just spoke at the Metals Investor Forum in Vancouver. You also spoke at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference in Vancouver. We also have AME Roundup coming up. So it's a really big week in Vancouver in the mining space, right?
It's a really big week because of what's happening with gold and silver prices,
I haven't even gotten there yet. Let's dive right into it. Okay, maybe you could just, as we're having this conversation at the end of January 2026, what is happening with gold?
Oh, well, we've got a little mini-mania going on in gold and silver. They've really been spiking. Most of that's probably due to geopolitical concerns. There's some supply issues on the silver side that's helping it. It's outperforming gold now. So the market started where gold was, gold leads, silver lags in the beginning of a bull market. And what's just happened here in the last couple months is silver has now taken over gold, which is what happens in a mature bull market. So we're seeing both of them spike tremendously, and silver's now outperforming gold.
I'm so excited. I just got shivers. Okay, so there's two themes that you talked about already this week at the conferences. One was you talked about how everything that happened in 2025 is making you bullish on gold for 2026. Tell us your thoughts on that.
The question there is, 2025 was a tremendous year for the precious metals sector. In fact, the number one major performing asset around the world, believe it or not, was gold stocks, the GDX index. It beat all other stock indexes in Canada and the US, around the world. It beat oil, the dollar, commodities, Bitcoin, all of it. And the top 5 performing asset classes in 2025 was precious metals.
I love this.
Believe it or not. So when you look at that, you go into 26 and wonder, well, should we still be that bullish on 2026 after what's happened in that year?
Yeah.
And I gave lots of reasons why I still am. And we're seeing that play out here in the first few weeks of January. They're continuing to really run.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I think this isn't quite a market like any other. There's a lot of new factors that we can't look back in history and necessarily say, well, when this happens, this happens. We have new asset classes, just like the crypto space. We have a very unique political situation globally and in Canada and across the border. But you still feel like this will be a great year for the resource sector?
I do expect there to be a significant correction.
Yep.
Even in 1979, the big mania we had then, there were 5 corrections in 12 months.
Wow.
So I think you can't go like this indefinitely, like what's happening right now in precious metals. So I think there will be a correction, but the correction won't signal the end of the bull market. For me personally, it'll just be an opportunity to begin to buy other things that maybe I missed, or some new opportunities, or whatever the case might be. So I am long-term bullish despite what happened in 2025.
Okay, good to hear. Another theme that you talked about at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference was the theme of rotation. Tell us about that.
So I think when you get into a mature bull market, what you'll see is Main Street, Wall Street, all those types of investors that aren't normally in this sector begin to rotate into gold and silver, but particularly mining stocks. And believe it or not, that has not happened yet. Despite the run we've had in gold and silver and mining stocks so far, when you ratio them to the NASDAQ, the S&P, the Dow, believe it or not, they really haven't moved. Because all those other indexes have still continued to rise. So the ratio of gold and gold stocks to them is really flat. They really haven't broken out yet, which tells me that has yet to happen.
Okay.
And when it does, and they're not all going to come over, and those other stocks will be fine, but some of that money is going to rotate into the precious metals sector, particularly mining stocks. That is still ahead, believe it or not.
Okay, this is great. So on that note, what's your thought as far as how maybe the juniors and explorers are going to do within this market? Traditionally, we see that capital and investor sentiment trickle down.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll happen?
Well, you're talking my language now. That's where I love to play, is in the juniors and explorers. It's starting to happen, and you're right. It does trickle down from the metals themselves to the producers, the developers, and the juniors. In my humble opinion, I think this is going to be the year for the developers and the juniors, explorers. Because the capital has yet to rotate, but also because they're still undervalued relative to the rest of the industry.
Yeah.
And so that has yet to happen. I think that's ahead, despite any correction that we will likely see.
Yeah.
I still think that is ahead.
One of the comments I get from some of our issuers is that sometimes they feel even good news that they put out there is not seen by the market. Do you think that this might bring some more attention back to that space? People start paying attention?
It already is, but that's a good point. Even just a year ago, companies would put out good news and their stock didn't move, or it'd even sell off.
Yes.
It was a liquidity event for them. So
I've heard that as well.
That's changing.
Okay, good.
Which is making it a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And finally, they're getting some of the attention that they deserve. So there's, marketing budgets have ratcheted up.
Yep.
Rightly so.
Yep.
Drill programs have ratcheted up.
Yes.
How big these raises have been, tremendous raises by many companies. So there's going to be a lot more money going into the ground, which means there's going to be more news, which means there could be potentially more catalysts than you would see without that much money coming in. So
maybe some new discoveries.
Exactly.
Yep.
We just increased the odds of a discovery with a lot of companies simply because they're putting a lot more money in the ground.
Yeah, absolutely. I notice as I look at the financings that our issuers do, I kind of take a look at it and take stock monthly. I've noticed in the past month specifically, most of the press releases I saw on financings were oversubscribed, which I thought was a great sign.
It's been happening for probably a year now, where they're oversubscribed. They'll raise 10, then it goes to 15, or raise 10 and it goes to 20.
Yeah.
So that's a great sign that investors are interested in the sector, and it's not just retail investors. Now we're seeing funds and high net worth and institutions and hedge funds and all kinds of management with funds starting to aggressively invest in the sector.
Okay, great. Okay, this is exciting. Okay, I also want to ask you about silver. So I've always been really intrigued by silver, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like especially in the junior market, we don't have as many silver-focused companies. And so the silver-focused companies, they stand out maybe a little bit more than the amount of gold-focused companies that we have. Tell us what you're seeing on silver and your thoughts.
Well, it's true. There's the number of true silver companies or pure silver companies, meaning that silver generates the greatest percentage of their revenue or is the greatest percentage of the resource over any other metal. That's a very small world. There's not very many of them. Even a lot of companies that have silver in their name, they're not necessarily a silver company.
So look, when you're looking to invest, take a look at the assets.
If I really want the most leverage I can get to silver itself, I want to look at a company that is silver dominant in their production, in their resource, and even in their exploration, what they're looking at, what it looks like they have. That's going to give me the most leverage to a rising silver price. And again, the list isn't long. There isn't 2,000, there isn't 1,000, there isn't 500. There's not very many of these, so you can screen a lot quicker.
Yeah. Okay. You touched on something there I want to ask you a little bit about is, due diligence and screening, do you have advice for our audience on, I have been around the mining sector for a long time. There is just still so much that I don't understand. So for someone who wants to invest in the mining space, in the exploration space, what are some high-level tips that you can give them?
Well, it's a good question because this is a different sector than you buying Apple or Microsoft or whatever. The criteria for and looking for a quality mining stock is going to be much different.
Right.
I wrote a book on it, how to buy,
What's the name of the book, Jeff?
It's called Pay Dirt.
Okay.
Mining for profits in gold and silver stocks.
Okay. And can we find this on Amazon? Where can we find this?
It's on Amazon. It's on our website.
Amazing. Okay.
But I wrote it because I was getting the question all the time, well, why did you pick this stock? Or why didn't you pick that one?
Yeah.
So I put all of my thoughts and criteria in it. And I actually interviewed 17 other people that I put in the book as well and what they look for. So it's pretty meaty, but it's very small. It's not a hard read. I tried to make it entertaining. In fact, it starts with the scariest mine I've ever been in.
Oh, and can you give us a little high part
of
that story?
Well, if you're claustrophobic, you might want to be
I'm a little claustrophobic.
Well, that chapter is on the website. You can read it for free and see if it's for you. But
I'm going to order that book tonight, Jeff, and I'll make sure I have it read by the next time that we talk.
Okay.
That's great.
But again, not trying to promote a book.
Sure.
I'm just saying that, I put a lot of what I look for in a stock in the book.
Okay.
But to answer your question on a high level criteria, you want to start with the 3 Ps, the people, the project, and the politics.
Okay.
You want to be in a pro-mining jurisdiction run by a team that's done before what you're investing in. And then
I was going to say, everyone talks about a great team. What does that mean? So a team that has successfully executed a similar project?
Exactly.
Okay.
A similar strategy, they've done before what you're investing in now.
Okay.
That's what you want to look for. I want a team that's not new. If his last company was a marijuana company, I'm probably not going to be interested in that company.
Maybe.
Or if that CEO or the VP exploration has not invested his own money in the company.
Yes.
Why should I invest in that company? So I'm looking at some very specific things when it comes to the team like that.
Okay.
And the project, you want to look there.
High grade.
Well, you want to look for my grandma's chocolate chip cookies, big and rich. That's what we want. So that's what you're looking for.
I will remember that. Big and rich. I like it. And then the last P was
politics. You want a pro-mining jurisdiction. Okay. Once you make a discovery, you can't move the deposit.
Yeah, you're stuck there.
It's stuck there.
Yeah.
So, Elon Musk can move his factory, but you can't move a gold deposit. So
that's right.
You want to make sure you're in a country that respects the rule of law and has a good history of doing that.
Okay. These are very good pieces of advice. Thank you very much, Jeff. As we go in, we are coming to, I guess we're in the early stages of this week, but we will be going into the PDAC in Toronto in March. What are your thoughts going into 2026? As an investor, what should we be paying attention to in the sector?
It's not just a bull market, it's a raging bull market, so you must be invested.
Okay.
You have to be invested. It's a bull market. We haven't seen one like this since the 1970s, and I had a big red afro. So you have to be invested. This is not a 2011 bull market, so you want to be long, but you should be prepared for some type of pullback or correction, maybe even a crash.
Okay.
The catch is we don't know when that's going to happen,
right?
How big it'll be, how long it'll last.
Yeah.
So my strategy for dealing with that is making sure I have a nice little stash of cash.
Okay.
That makes me feel better about me having all these stocks that might pull back, but I've got a big stash of cash that helps defend that and take advantage of opportunities at that time.
I was going to say, so I was on the brokerage side for many years, and part of the asset allocation was always having some cash available in the account.
Yep.
Mainly to hedge if there is a bit of a pull down, but also sometimes opportunities come up and you want to make sure that you're not trying to sell something that you want to play long on.
That's right.
With the cash that's available.
And because of the big run that we've had, people can take some profits now to build their cash.
Yep.
But my cash level, believe it or not, is a little higher than normal now.
Okay.
so that I'm prepared for a correction and I can take advantage of it,
Okay.
whenever that might happen.
Okay, this is all great. Would you please come back and visit us again?
I would love to.
Okay.
I'll be back here in May, so
Wonderful.
plan on it.
Okay, well, let's chat in May. Thank you so much, Jeff, for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.